Hello, and welcome to the Running in the Dark podcast, the podcast about business, not running. And welcome to episode 5. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for continuing on this journey with me. It's been incredible and actually really humbling to know that there's so many of you. So thank you all so much. In this week's episode, we're talking about something really important. And it's advice I kind of received when I started my business, but I didn't really pay attention to. And that is that your job will change. And it will change when you make those key decisions like hiring, deciding to grow, looking at bringing in freelancers. So, this is a really, really important episode if you are thinking about those things. If it is a niggling thought in the back of your mind of, oh, actually, maybe I do want an apprentice. Maybe I do want to hire someone. Maybe I want to really push and grow. If that is you, please, please listen to today. If it is someone that you know of, please share today's episode with them. It will be really helpful. So, being fully transparent, we recorded this episode 5 years ago. So, when I've told everyone this podcast project was 5 years in the making, I'm not lying. And I mention that in today's episode. But here we are now, 11 years on. I still feel that this is really valuable information. I really think it's vital that everyone starting a business hears it. So, let me know what you think.
Today's lesson, your job will change. Now, I remember when I first started Oh So Social and a competitor offered me a job. Now, come back in time with me. I was 24, 25. I'd been freelancing and I got the opportunity to grow and specialise in what I did. A competitor offered me a very good job and she sat me down and she said, "Do you love being a social media manager?" And I went, "Yes, I do. I love my job." And she went, "If you start a company, your job will change." And I went, "No, it won't. You don't know what you're talking about. I love my job. I love all elements of my job. I love organic and I love paid and I love being a social media manager. I will always be a social media manager." Well, I can tell you 5 years on, she was right and I was wrong. Of course, your job will change. If you decide to become a freelancer or grow a business, your job is going to have to change because as you become responsible for your own workload, of course, you then become responsible for your own business development, your own client management, your own finance management. If you hire, your own HR management. And as my company has grown over the years, I have found my role changing to something that's really unrecognizable. I am very much now a director, and it's very rare that I actually get to do the job that I love anymore. And what is hard about this is I hung on for such a long time. When hiring, I would hire in social media managers and assistants, but I would still try to do it all. I would still try to client manage, I would still try to do organic, I would still try to do paid and manage a team and do the finance. And as you can imagine, I ended up doing 120-hour weeks for quite a long time. It got to the point where I realised that actually I couldn't do everything. And you can't do everything. You are only one person, not a superhuman robot wizard. There's only a certain number of hours in the day. And finally admitting this took a long time. But actually, I wish I'd realised it sooner. Because the second you start to hire, that's the second that people start to look at you. They start to look for a business strategy. They start to look for goals. They want to know where they're going and what they're trying to achieve and what they're helping you achieve. And unless you are on the business, not in the business, that's really difficult to achieve. In the end, I had to come up with a compromise with myself. Because as I said, I was trying to do everything and I humanly couldn't do it. So I broke down my job. So in the purest sense, I'm a social media manager. And I looked at the bits that I loved And I love consultancy, I love training, and actually I love ads management. So I made a deal with myself and my team that I would hang on to a day a week where I could do the physical part of the job. But that would be it. The rest of my time, I would be working on the business. I would be looking at the strategy. I would be looking at the plans forward. And I would do the consultancy arm of things within that time. I'm quite unusual for keeping that one day a week on doing my job, but social media moves so fast, I feel like I have to, otherwise I'll be left behind, and then I won't be the best at what I do anymore. I don't regret not taking that job, but I wish I had listened to her at the time. I wish I'd given it some real thought about what I actually wanted my job and my career to look like. Did I want to run an agency, or did I just want to be a really good social media manager? I don't regret anything. I love my career. I love my companies. I love my team at Oh So Social. I love my team at Oh So Savvy. But I would have spent longer debating it. And I would have thought long and hard about whether I wanted to be a HR manager, whether I wanted to be a face in a brand, because that's something else that happens. Is all part of your changing job role. I would have thought for much longer whether I wanted to be a company director or whether I just wanted to be a freelancer or actually an employee and just clock off at 9 to 5. Because as your business grows, not only does your job change, but your job and your hours tend to get bigger. It's just something to spend time thinking about before you jump in. And I think it's something that you will appreciate in the long run. Good luck.
Hi everyone, I am back again. As today's episode was recorded 5 years ago, I thought it was just worth adding a little update now 11 years into running my business, which is absolutely terrifying because I'm only 35. So here I am 11 years on, and I still believe that this is one of the most important lessons you really need to understand before you make your first hire. It's really, really key. When you make that hire, when you make that decision, that is when everything really changes. And that is when you do kind of start stepping up. So anyone who is thinking about making that decision, please share this episode with them. I think it will be really beneficial for them. So 11 years on and 6 years on from making this decision of how my day was going to work and how I kind of started to let go, I can confirm that I still do consultancy, ads management, training, but the way that works has really changed. I consult not only for external people, and the names and the clients are getting bigger and bigger. It's incredible. But I also consult within my own agency. So I have a team of account managers, and I make myself, or try to make myself, fully available for them to help support their clients and my agency's clients as much as possible. But I know I can't be involved with them all. I still do ads management, but it is now very rare I actually build an ads campaign. I now do the strategy, the budget planning. I oversee and check lots of stuff, but I don't really push the buttons anymore. And I am still delivering an awful lot of training. And again, that's been incredible. I'm training for bigger and bigger organizations. I came off the eBay Roadshow a few years ago, so it is really cool. And making that decision to accept that my job had changed 6 years ago now was the catalyst for that growth. So finally accepting that my job has changed was the key trigger moment. So I hope today's episode was useful. I hope it was helpful. As always, please let me know. Please reach out. I am on every social network at Oh So Katherine, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.